Truly, just everyday gun owners, clubs and hunting out. The messages. Chat.
Monetize. Right. Right. Paramount.
The Capitol, so people can, while we're waiting for the speakers at 11 o'clock, we can, perhaps do some marching near the Attorney General's office and the governor's mansion. And that's going to be, that day is going to be extremely busy, but we want as many patriots to show up as possible.
Well, I know you have quite a few coming. I do know a group is coming from Massachusetts, and I've spoken to a few others up here in the north that are going to be coming down as well.
I always knew at some point in my life I'd like to learn how to read lips.
Guys, sorry we have technical difficulties with the audio on his end. We're doing the best we
Yeah,
can.
we have from Massachusetts, Texas, North Carolina, South Carolina, Connecticut, even some talking about coming from California and Oregon. It's huge. I mean, the feeling of wanting to be here and support in Virginia. Just reminding us that we're all brothers and sisters in this country, and we're standing together in this fight.
We are. We sure are.
Well, united we stand,
Divided we fall.
And again, just a quick notice, we're having audio difficulties, so please deal with us as best we can.
Absolutely, yeah. We stand together because if Virginia goes, a lot more states are going to follow our path.
Also with BCDL.
They're going to use in other states. And if we can stop it here, the hope is that this will be a model for other states to use how to block this stuff.
Civilian Defense
and so,
League.
To some degree, we're going to be petri dish on how to do this. What do you do? How do you fight it?
Get in contact with
That's
Maryland
actually was my next point.
We got-
What you're
we got
doing
release
is going to be the telltale for the rest of the country, because most of the Democrats, the anti-gunners, are watching what's going on right now. And
Mhm.
what happens there either help their agenda or hopefully retard it.
Right.
Hey, Reed, brother, thank you for joining.
Yeah, we've got to
Amazing.
basically we have to stop this whole thing. And again, the sanctuaries we've been busy doing.
Right.
We've got 114 of those. We've got 91% of the counties are on board. But that's the key thing, is we've got to stop these things from becoming law. If they become law,
Right.
the sanctuary thing is really minimal as to how much it can protect us. We just have to stop this and convince the governor and the General Assembly
That he's doing
to
that.
walk
just-
away,
Please.
not do any gun control. Just let it go. It's not like they've got nothing else to do. They got plenty else to do. Just leave our gun laws alone and walk away from the table. That's what we're hoping.
My feeling is that the nation is watching because I hope I'm wrong, but this could be where we basically tell the government to get back, and we've had enough, and not one more inch.
Do you want to hear an answer, or do you just want to shout? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. You do not. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
For a long time, we've been fighting the fight for the dreamers. My father.
Dreamers. Dreamers. Overall, 11.
Do you want to hear an answer, or do you just want to shout?
Nervous Nancy Pelosi with a shaky hand. Got the shakies, y'all.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. You do not. You don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know what you're talking about. We are shutting her down. Yes, Nancy Pelosi. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Back to the fight.
Hey, Liberty Doll, how you doing? Oh,
Yes, that is. You're right. You're right. That's
Okay, I'm
very
getting-
much why they're
I'm
watching.
getting
because
interference.
Virginia, the
Okay, I
people, the
see here.
patriots that live here, all the wonderful citizens, law abiding. I mean, our crime rate is the fourth lowest.
Somebody's
Apparently,
trying to react
last
to
year
this.
we were fourth from the bottom in crime. So we certainly don't have a public here that's anything but law abiding. But they also are not about to give up their right to keep and bear arms.
Mhm.
We're just not going to do it. And that you're right. And if something breaks loose, it'll be because the governor and the Democrats.
Okay, let's read this. I'm about to read this law too. For you guys.
This is in their hands. If the Civil War were to start in Virginia,
Right.
they will start it. It will not be our side. It will be their side. 'Cause they
Right.
won't listen.
We're gonna take it back to Virginia.
I'm gonna try to call them, guys, so we can do this a little easier.
That's where my family's from.
Again, thank
Virginia.
you for your patience. This has been trying. It's been a weird day for me here on YouTube, but I'm getting this phone number. I'm going to do this a little more. Thank you all for your time. Please hit that thumbs up right now and share this so that folks can get what's going on here. I'm calling now. It went to voicemail. There we go. Hello, sir.
Okay, should I put you on speaker?
You can just listen because they can still hear you. But let's just try to keep the volume down so we don't have kickback. Did he hang up on me?
Oh,
All right, let's do this again. Only me, only this channel.
Okay, I'll just hold the phone up to my ear.
Yeah, that's fine. And then they can hear you. We can hear
Yeah.
everything. I guess you just can't hear us.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
thank you.
much better.
Yeah, thank you for doing this most.
man, technology is amazing.
I guess this is the most trying interview
Yeah,
I've
like
ever
he's
done.
in
But
his
thank you
70s,
for
80s.
your patience in this. This interview, for what you have to say and what you're doing, is far too important to let something like a technical
Sails through
difficulty
all
stop this.
generations.
So thank you very
Well, why
much.
didn't we think of this before?
Amazing.
Tell me about it. All right. So Virginia's always been very gun friendly.
Right.
And I know that people have been able to carry
Rifle
firearms
clubs.
in and around.
I'm looking up the
state
rifle for my
capitol
grandfather. So I
forever.
gotta figure
It's
this
never
one
been
out.
an issue. However, the incoming Democrat strength, who Miss Filicorn, has said that once they take their oath of office on the 8th of January, their first order of business is to create a gun-free zone in and around the Capitol and on the grounds. What is VCPL looking to do about that first, number one? And number two, if they're successful with that, what will be the pivot or the lobby day, if any at all?
Okay, yeah, and I don't know. Last I heard, again, maybe you've heard something more recent than I have, but last I heard,
Georgia
they were considering
SB
making
281.
it a gun-free zone. I don't know if they made a final decision on it. Keep in mind, a lot of the Democrat legislators and their aides carry guns in the General Assembly. So are they going to lock themselves out? Well, we'll see. In the past, when they tried this, they tried it about 4 years ago. They tried to vote on it. It went down 80 to 20, and even most of the Democrats didn't want to support it back then. So things could be different now. We'll see. Well, first of all, if they do anything at all, it's going to be it should be a rule. So outside the building, inside the building, they have metal detectors. Outside the building, if it's a rule, it would be like trespass. If they see you've got a gun and they ask you to take it off the property, then you best take it off the property and be charged with trespass. But if they don't see the gun, I don't believe it'd be breaking any law. It'd be breaking a rule. So, still carry is always a nice thing.
Well, she did make.
You can't always plan.
Okay.
Rational
Another law I didn't pay attention to. Georgia.
They do this even when most options to carry guns are inconvenient, uncomfortable.
Georgia ordinance.
Carry. We know you
SB
just
281. Georgia ordinance. SB 281.
Urban Carry G1. Urban Carry G2. And now G3. Rather than using it riding on your waistline, you put the gun below your waist, where it's completely concealed and more comfortable whether standing or sitting. We've now improved the urban.
Easy to consume.
So it's an assault weapons ban. We don't really expect it to go anywhere, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't take it seriously. My very quick theory on the matter, I believe that it's some saber rattling by the Democrats here in Georgia because obviously they see what's going on in Virginia and they want to garner attention for the Democrats here.
They're trying to make it.
And they want to
nationwide.
have the appearance that they're
on
trying to accomplish
board
something
with them.
now.
Right.
Obviously, the House and Senate and governor here in Georgia, it's all Republican across the board, and we have lots and lots of seats. So I seriously doubt it's going to go anywhere, but it's still important that you contact your local reps here in Georgia, find out which district you're in, contact that district congressmen, representatives, and make sure that you're voicing your concerns. And trust me, they're going to listen. Okay. It's very, very important. Do not sit on your hands. Okay. Now, trust me. It probably ain't even gonna. It's probably not even gonna make it to the floor at all. It's not even. It hasn't even been assigned to the committee. Right. It won't even probably hit the floor. But if it does, make sure your representatives know what's going on. And it's a far-reaching, of course, entire.
Okay, understood.
Well, she did make that. That was a quote that I saw. It was about 2 days ago. Yeah. So she said it was her first order of business. So they've been true to their snake venom so far. So. Surprised they did that.
Yeah, they know they're doing things that the public wouldn't like.
On Enderman.
So back to the event. I've seen things in print, and I'm not sure if it's come from you or the organization, but you're welcoming people to carry at the event. But you are, if I'm correct, you don't want long guns because you don't want the attention taken from the speakers and the message, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, it's just because I know the press has seen this a million times. The guy with the long gun shows up and everybody runs over there to get his picture because that's what they want to be the symbol. And they don't listen to what we're saying. At that point, the message is all about this person standing there with a long gun.
Right.
That's fine if we're not trying to save our gun rights in Virginia. So that's the primary reason. Nothing against long guns, nothing against any kind of gun. You know, people carry however that they want. We never dictate to our members how to carry, what to carry. We leave that up to them. This was just an ask. It was like, you know, if you want to be helpful to what we're trying to do,
The movement.
please don't do this.
Right.
But it wasn't, you can't do this. Of course you can do this. Because you're trying to be helpful.
Okay, I just wanted people to understand that you're not telling people they can't do that.
Oh, yeah.
When I put that out on a video, I got a lot of comments and questions like, well, why? It's a gun, it's the Second Amendment, but it will detract from the message. And I just wanted folks to hear it from you.
Yeah, we're lobbying. We're not protesting where
Right.
we're trying to say, yeah, well, we're going to keep these and you can't take them from us. That's not what we're doing at this point.
Right. And now
that
this
may,
event
that may be coming at some point. It's
Yeah,
not here
looks-
now.
looks like it. And for those who don't know, this event's been going on this date for quite a while. So this isn't something new that they've started.
Right.
So their lobby day has been an annual event. So they have their machine well oiled and fine tuned. So the last thing they want is, you know, one or two people or a group of people to detract from what they've been doing. So the next question I have for you is for those who are coming from across the country to stand in support and arm in arm with their brothers and sisters in Virginia, what would you like them to know about what to expect on the lobby day? For instance, I already know that you'll have speakers and then people are going to be going in through the State House. But what would you like to tell people who are coming from different parts of the country, how they can help and what you would hope for them to do?
Well, the main thing is, first of all, we're not going to get 20,000, 50,000, 100,000 people through the General Assembly building. Okay, we will have shut it down to where they won't be able to let anybody in after we get to about 1,000. And so we expect that to happen. And those people we're thinking will be Virginian citizens. Those coming from out of state. The most important people to be in the building are citizens lobbying their delegates and their senators. But the people outside, the image alone is going to be eye-popping. It is going to be, we're going to have drones up taking a picture of this crowd. That message, and again, if people are indeed, if we're able to do the little parade thing, people chanting, saying no more gun control, the volume of that should sound like an earthquake. And it's the whole thing is just geared to sending a message to let's not do this, guys. Let's walk away from the gun control. Let's not push that button.
Hopefully they listen, because I don't think we're fooling anymore. So I thought of this question earlier today. Every now and then I try to be philosophical. Do you think that this focused disarmament movement that's taking place in Virginia on a scale that we've never seen before, as far as the amount that they're throwing against the wall all at once, do you think this could be a test, specifically how America, we the people, will respond in the immediate, and it might give them an idea of how the country might respond, especially that close to DC, if they get legitimately serious about gun control?
I mean, it could be. It could be that. Could be some kind of coordinated effort saying, well, you know, let's look at Virginia and see how, because this could be a two-way education thing. Right. We're looking at how you stop this, and they may be looking at how you shove it down somebody's throat.
Right.
Or can you shove it down somebody's throat? Could be. Or it could be an ineptness by our governor who's just blundered into something, isn't paying attention, is tone deaf, and is trying to pay back Bloomberg without really thinking. I mean, the other side is very much like that. We like, you know, we sometimes give them more credit for being intelligent than they are. We had a massive rally in Virginia. Well, it was actually the meeting in Virginia Beach to look at possibly putting in this sanctuary city. There were almost 2,000 people in that area. I mean, we flooded the door, we flooded everywhere, and there were 6 of the Moms Demand Actions in that whole crowd, 6. And one of them got up to speak, and she said, "Well, the other side is just a very vocal minority." And I couldn't help but say, well, excuse me, there's 6 of you and 2,000 of us, and we're the vocal minority. I'm just saying that they can be very tone deaf, not pay attention to what's going on. Reading, I don't know. I really don't know if how much of this is evil and how much is stupidity.
Well, it's definitely Bloomberg's investment, and from
Yes.
the reports I've seen, he's very, very worried about his investment. He thought this was going to go off smooth. So again, another thank you nationwide. We're all honored by what you're doing. We're all proud of you, and I know a lot of us stand with you. And as somebody who is a police officer, I know it's going to shock a lot of people listening. I applaud my brothers and sisters in Virginia, the sheriffs and police alike, who have said, "Hell no, we're not doing it." All of those counties who have gone to say, "Nope, not one more inch." We are with you. Believe it or not, there's more of us than there are of them. We are with you. And I just want to thank you again for what you're doing, because it's needed. It's the spot where it has to happen. And you, sir, and your agency is the group that can do it. So it couldn't have been a better setup. So thank you again.
Yeah, I was a deputy sheriff for 7 years, and I too am very proud of the police and the sheriff, especially the sheriff in Virginia. These guys are, they're constitutional in Virginia, so they are elected. They don't answer to anybody but the people, which I really think is great.
Yeah.
Before I forget too, I was going to mention the NRA is having they're doing a day of lobbying on 1 week before ours on the 13th. And they're not doing a rally or anything. They're just doing lobbying. We're going to be busy as well. I mean, it's not like we're waiting until the 20th to jump in. BCDL will be there on day 1. And I'm going to try to get as many volunteers to come with me and help me lobby as we go around. There's 140 senators and delegates to talk to.
Yeah,
not all of them are maybe worth our time talking to, but a lot of them are. And a lot of the Democrats, we need to spend some time with them, because some of them are in districts that may be blue because red gun owners have been sleeping peacefully and not voting, not being active. And now that they're waking up, things could change very much so if these guys stay awake. The elections could look very different down the road. And I think the Democrats are aware that that could happen to them. They could lose the House in 2 years ago.
Well, if they're not aware, then they aren't watching TV or listening to the radio.
Welcome,
quick,
people.
yesterday,
Anybody who's watching,
GOA
welcome.
Yeah, there you go. GOA and
We got one
BCDL came out
viewer.
with a 12-page response to your AG and your governor, basically saying that the Second Amendment sanctuary movement doesn't hold any weight, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Would you like to take a second to tell people about this and maybe brush them up? Because I'm sure not everybody's watched all the videos that have been going on about it, not just on this channel, but others. But address maybe what led to that with the AG, his ruling, a couple bills that were put out to ban everything, to remove police that don't follow through with their orders, and go into your 12-page response that came out yesterday.
Okay, yes. The Attorney General said, "Oh, these sanctuary cities, they don't mean anything." And boy, those officers, the sheriff and the police, at best be enforcing the laws no matter what they are. When we pass these gun laws, they all need to be enforced. And the paper that we put out pointed out that the Attorney General and the governor are not following their own advice. For example, we had the Protection of Marriage Act that became part of the Constitution, which basically dealt with gay marriage. And at that point, the Attorney General said, "Oh no, we don't think this is constitutional." Who's he to say? He's just a lawyer like any other. We don't think this is constitutional, so we're not going to enforce it in Virginia. Then there was one that he did that was actually good, but it was the same principle, where the United States had passed something that would have
Trying to get some more
basically
followers
made
to
it so that
join us on
right
this
to,
podcast.
habeas corpus and other things have been suspended. And
New
we could be
Virginia
arrested
law is
because
trying to be
for
implemented.
potential terrorism and stuff.
Country.
They said, "Well, we're not going to support that because we don't
Insanity
think
of
it's
it all.
constitutional." So, then this goes. Yeah, there were other instances as well. The marijuana law. They said, "Oh well, if police don't enforce that, we're okay with that." That was our Attorney General. So so it's okay not to enforce laws if they agree with it, but the rest of it, we better enforce everything they pass. It's
Yes.
the hypocrisy is what it was pointed out. That he's,
Right.
really both of them, the governor and the attorney general, are hypocrites.
Hypocrisy.
It's 100%
Hypocrisy.
the agenda. That's all it is.
Yes, it is. It's the
Right.
agenda. What's the agenda? And, somebody pointed out to me
It's
yesterday,
crazy when
if
it's clear to
something's
see.
happening, it doesn't make sense to you. Like if you say, well, those gun bills, those don't do anything about crime. If it doesn't make sense, you're asking the wrong question as to what they're saying. The question is would these bills disarm us? And the answer then is yes. Then it makes sense. All these bills all make sense under disarmament. And
Absolutely.
that's the agenda. And
Absolutely.
you gotta wonder why a government would want to disarm its people.
Good luck trying. I know
KKK.
from doing this for a couple of years that what you're doing in
Blackface.
Virginia with your group costs money.
That was
could
him.
you please tell everybody how they can join,
It's crazy.
donate, support? The floor
Governor.
is yours. Tell them how to get a hold of you, where to find you,
Not
etc.
even a point.
Okay, sure. Well, our website is bcdl.org. That's in Virginia Citizens Defense League.org is an organization. bcdl.org. You can join there. You can contribute money if you wish.
Join
Membership
today.
is big. The more people we've got as members, the better off we are.
Exactly.
So joining is easy. It's $25 a year.
Mm.
Also, you can get on our free VA alert. It's an email blast that now
VA.
goes out to almost 36,000 people, up from 29 6 weeks ago. And you can learn all about what's going on in Virginia, the gun laws here. You'll see us organizing for these rallies and for Lobby Day. We've got information about buses and so forth that we're putting together, parking. All that's on our main webpage. And you can see about all the sanctuary cities, all that, the big map we've got there, and both photos of the overwhelming number of people. That's absolutely incredible.
Awesome. And just so how much is a membership? Do you have a life option?
Okay, membership is $25 a year. We do not have a life option. You can pay ahead a few years if you want.
Yeah.
But we've thought about it. We haven't gotten around to doing life membership, so it's just $25 a year. And right now, your membership is good until actually it goes a little bit longer than a year because all of our memberships expire September 30th. And so right now, it would carry out beyond that. So,
All right, guys and gals.
Amazing. Amazing, guys. As you can see.
Gals, you know what to do. My viewership is very, very supportive of
Hope y'all got
anything
that
that is
information.
pro-2A. These gentlemen, these ladies in Virginia are doing what should be done. They're fighting the fight. They're organizing a huge event. They need
Yes.
money. So let's help them. Let's
Please.
join. If
Please
10,000
help.
people watch this in the
Please
next
join.
40 minutes and we all put in $25,
Right.
that will help them drastically.
Tremendously.
So please help them. All right. So again, thank you for the most unorthodox interview I've ever done in my life. I really
I enjoy your channel, and it was a pleasure and honor to be on it.
thank you. I really appreciate that. And I know you have something else coming up, so I won't keep you long. If there's anything else you want the people to know, whether it's about the agency or what's taking place on the 20th or just something in general, the floor is yours, sir.
Well, what's going to save this country is grassroots, in my opinion. What's happened here,
Right. From the ground up.
what's going to do it? How do you wake up your fellow gun owners? That I don't know. And in Virginia, sadly, we screamed about this before the election. We were saying, people, it's going to be different this year. We need you to vote. We need you to get a hold of your friends, family, make them swear on their firstborn that they're going to show up. Call them. We put out a message before election.
That's biblical
but
right
it
there.
took
That's
an actual
biblical.
threat with some teeth that could be coming our way to do it. Don't let that happen to you. Use us as an example of how this can sneak up on you. Get out there and those organizations like ours. The other thing I would say is do what we're doing as far as get yourself a huge email list. Get on a listserv and have an email list that's massive. So when this happens,
Right.
you can reach out to a load of people who can reach out to another load of people.
Right.
And coordinate something like we did with the sanctuaries, trying to get this grassroots effort herded as best you can and get it to accomplish something. So that would be my best advice on that.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for your time. I know how valuable it is right now with everything that's going on. I can't thank you enough. Really, thank you. You're an all-star. You're doing a hell of a job. And I know that all of us pro-gunners up here in the Northeast, where people don't think we live, we all have your back. We all have your back. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, my friend. Thank you.
Here we go.
When it comes to burning fat
That's
and
me.
building muscle for a guy, the biggest mistake that you can make is
Before Virginia's new gun control laws officially go into effect, Democratic Governor Ralph Northam is already increasing his
So, from what I gathered, you have Northam, who honestly, me, isn't the governor. Michael Bloomberg, the governor of Virginia now.
already increasing his state's corrections budget in anticipation of jailing gun owners. Here to react, attorney and gun rights.
Anticipation of jailing gun owners. Jailing us. Jailing. This is insane.
From what I gathered.
Hey, hello, and hello.
Honestly, if you ask me, isn't the governor, Michael Bloomberg, the governor of Virginia now, considering that he bought the General Assembly. But what he's done is he's anticipated that there's going to be a lot of respect to control law when it passes January. As a result, he wants to bump up some of the funding for the correction facility so that from an operating standpoint, they understand that they're going to have more people going to jail as a result of not obeying these laws, which to me is
So originally, the governor and the
Trampling
Democrats who were backed by
Say it
Bloomberg
again.
wanted to pass
Say it again.
legislation that banned semi-automatic
Say it
rifles,
again.
commonly owned firearms. They wanted to
Amazing.
limits on, and without grandfathering in those
Amazing.
firearms. They've now changed their mind on that, but they are going
Right.
to
So now they don't want to grandfather our firearms.
register them.
So
and
if
that's where
if
the
I was a
non-compliance comes
Virginia
in, correct?
gun owner, which I'm
absolutely.
not,
And
I get my magazine
he
and bring them back to me. But I'm
a
not.
little bit and
I'm
said,
not.
now, okay, well, we'll give you the grandfather
I
clause.
know way,
I don't
shape,
think
or
that's
form.
enough. I think, however you slice it, it's all an infringement on this.
It's all in this French.
So you're an attorney. Are they capable of throwing you in prison
It's amazing.
for failing to register a
not about what they
constitutionally,
did.
legally purchased
We would
firearm?
like to think that they can't.
I would like to think they can.
Right,
However,
but,
there's
like,
always been the
technically
saying, it's
they
like sometimes you may not beat
you
the
know,
bride, but you'll beat
You don't
the
want
case.
to have a
And
shootout with
unfortunately,
police.
the way things are, in this
They
country,
can't.
the way things
That doesn't
are,
mean they're gonna win
some people may find themselves in a
fight.
position where they are actually
battle.
thrown in jail. Now,
Because
whether
we
or
know
not
the law
they're
because
innocent,
it's dumbass.
that's the story. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't think anybody should have to undergo any aspect of this whatsoever, because I think the laws in general are an infringement on the Second Amendment right. Just don't understand how we even got to this point.
Yeah.
But beautiful aspects of it is you do have, I want to say, over counties in Virginia now that deem themselves two-way sanctuaries. And as far as I'm concerned, I think not only Virginia, but the rest of the country should start following these.
Yeah, there's a lot of pushback already. 100 plus cities and counties that have deemed themselves and voted to be Second Amendment sanctuaries there. We'll have to see what the legislation looks like.
Right now, there's a culture war against the Second Amendment, which is why I need your help spreading our message to counter their message. You can do this by leaving a comment, sharing this video, and click the bell and subscribe button. Let my voice be your voice, and let them know you want to keep America tactical. Because
I just don't know what to do. This is just amazing. It's just so crazy. I just can't. It's like I'm living in a cartoon. I swear to God. The way shit goes on in society is like
local officials from all the
it's
cities.
like a cartoon. I just can't believe. I can't believe.
12 years ago, after the mass shooting at Virginia Tech, our Commonwealth.
I can't believe people are standing behind.
Terrible
I
tragedy.
just can't believe people standing behind this guy.
Once more, first responders displayed heroism, and
The
ordinary
devils of them all.
Virginians showed extraordinary courage.
There's no choice
and compassion.
but to fight back. You know,
once more,
option.
Hearts
But
are
to fight
broken. Lives are
I don't know
shattered.
what to do. I don't know. I
And
don't know what to say.
families
I don't know what
are
to do.
crushed.
I don't know what to say.
Once more, community in shock and pain and grief. And once more,
You hear this guy?
we will hear folks offer their thoughts and prayers. We do appreciate and need
I ain't
them.
offering shit.
As I said
I'm
this
here.
weekend in Virginia
Ready.
Beach,
Reaction.
God is in control.
Stop using God.
But we
Oh,
must
you
do
made me
more than
sick.
give.
Oh,
thoughts
you
and
just
prayers.
used God.
We must give
Oh, the
Virginians the
hypocrisy.
action they deserve.
Like what?
You see,
Taking out
Virginia
guns?
is
You're gonna get
heartbroken.
shot doing this dumbass shit.
We
Somebody's
are
gonna
heartbroken for the
Somebody's gonna
families
blast your
who have
ass.
lost
Say
their
kingdom
loved
come.
ones.
Trying to pass these
Their
laws.
lives are forever changed. The pain and suffering that Virginia Beach is experiencing is the same pain
100%.
communities across Virginia and around the country
100%.
suffer every day due to gun violence.
We must.
As an Army doctor, I have seen
Oh, stop. Stop.
with a bullet.
You just sound like a bitch. Get the fuck out of here. Fuck the
And I saw
doctor.
it
God
again
damn it, I see
this
people
weekend.
that's dead with good bullet holes in them. Police.
I can't imagine the
Yes, that's me.
devastation these families
What?
suffer.
And they're shot by criminals.
It
Shit.
is wrong.
God, you sound like a
It is
wimp.
outrageous. It is unforgivable to turn our municipal centers, our schools, our churches and synagogues and mosques
Into what?
into battlefields.
Then
No one
they're criminals doing
should
that.
go to work, school, or to church wondering if they will come home.
Me too. I'm close to Virginia.
Our elementary school children
That's what 15 minutes away.
regularly practice lockdown drills.
15 minutes
That's
away.
what our society has come
15
to
minutes away.
because we have failed to
Less
act
if you drive faster.
on gun violence.
I'm 15 minutes
It
away
is
from Virginia.
wrong that we now view these mass shootings as the normal. In fact, it is
And we
wrong that
will
we
fight
view gun
back
violence
and
in
protect
general as the new normal.
As the new norm.
Tragic mass shootings, they draw our attention. But shootings happen in our communities every day.
Criminals. You're not bringing up
A
criminals.
15-year-old boy was
Criminal.
shot and killed in Norfolk on Sunday. A little girl was shot and killed at a cookout in Richmond on Memorial Day weekend.
That's called a criminal.
4 people were shot, 1 killed in Portsmouth this past weekend.
That's called a criminal.
It is past time to change it.
How?
Back in January, I asked the Virginia General Assembly to work with me to stop this virus.
And what are you going
I
to do?
asked them to ban magazines that hold more than 10 rounds.
Nothing on Chicago, huh?
I asked
Right.
them to make background checks universal. Policy that 90%.
Forget the thousands that die.
I asked them
Don't
to create an extreme
put that
risk
to the side. Just
protected
stop.
work.
Forget the
Way
thousands that are slaughtered. Man.
to keep
Forget them.
guns away from
Forget them.
someone
That's
who
the
poses
opinion
substantial danger
that he's
to
given.
themselves or
Forget the thousands
a
that are slaughtered
concept supported by
criminals.
President Trump's own
Forget it.
school
until his
safety
family gets
task force.
shot at by goddamn cartel
I asked
members.
them
Then
to
you want to get
reinstate
serious. about
Virginia's
criminals.
successful
Watch.
one handgun a month
And I put this
policy.
out for all to
I
hear.
asked for
It's not
tougher
gonna be
penalties
us.
for anyone who
It's not gonna
leaves
be
a
us to
loaded
go
gun
after you. It's not gonna
around a
be,
child.
you know, it's gonna be
To
criminals
require
that go after
anyone
you
whose gun has
because
been
they listen
stolen
to you
to report the theft
and
within
then they
24
go,
hours.
criminal
And I have
knows you're trying to
supported and will continue
you're trying to just take away the weapons. The criminal's gonna go,
legislation giving localities
and then they're gonna
more
think they're gonna
authority
go,
to
okay,
regulate
well,
firearms,
ain't got no
including in their
guns.
own
Yay, let's shoot them
government
up. Like it's I can't
None
make
of
it
these
make
ideas
you
are
can't
right.
make it make sense. You
None of
can't.
them violate
Even
the
like
Second
anybody
Amendment.
who wants to
None of
do
them
wrong
would
with a
appear
gun
any of my fellow Virginia
do their
hunters
best job
or
where
sportsmen.
no
None of
what do you
them
call
would
it?
limit
No
anyone
arms,
from owning a gun
guards,
who
no
wasn't a felon
security,
or
no guns
domestic
around. You're
abuse
gonna have
or
a melee.
otherwise
It's gonna be in
judged
a wrong.
to be a
You don't
danger.
want to defend. You're not pro-life. You're pro
And none
theory.
of them
I'm pro-life.
passed.
You know.
In fact, some failed with just 4 votes against them in small subcommittees. We lost 1,028 Virginians due to gun violence in 2017. That's almost 3 people a day.
Gun violence.
Incredibly, that is more
illegal gun violence.
vehicle accidents.
God damn, it's like
This weekend's tragedy.
Just a big fat lie.
Tragedies that happen every
Let me get up inside your emotions real quick.
must instill in us a new level of urgency to act.
This is
If we can
insane.
save one life,
It's
because
insane.
we act it now, it is worth it. And so,
Some
by the
people know how to
power
lie
vested in
good.
us by Article 4,
And then
Section
you get
6,
people to follow
and
your
Article
lie.
5, Section 5
And
of
the best liars
Constitution of
believe
Virginia,
in their own lie.
I will summon the members of the Senate and the House of Delegates to meet in special session for the purpose of passing common sense public safety laws. I will propose many of the same ideas that we have proposed before. Universal background checks,
Oh,
a ban on assault weapons.
Get the fuck out of here. Listen to this shit.
And bump stock.
Get the fuck out.
An extreme risk protective order. Reinstating the 1 gun a month law. Child access prevention. Requiring people to report lost and stolen firearms. And expanding local authority to regulate firearms, including in government buildings. I will be asking for votes, laws,
And law,
not thoughts.
not thoughts and pray. But laws to take away your rights.
And I ask that the members of the General Assembly engage in an open and transparent debate, and that the bills brought before the legislature are put to a vote by the entire General Assembly. That is why our legislature sent to Richmond. Business as usual, with leadership shielding most of their members from taking tough votes by setting early morning hearings before small subcommittees. Won't cut it.
America's
Virginians
watching.
deserve leadership. They will be watching.
They will be watching.
Nation
The
will be
nation
watching.
watching. See? The nation
From the
is watching.
moment
Look at him trying to urge.
first shots were
Trying to urge.
fired in Virginia Beach,
Really? Virginia Beach?
first
Really use
responders
Virginia Beach?
they rushed to the sound of the gunfire. They responded in less than 2 minutes
And did what?
to the shooting.
And
Our
did-
first responders
And why did it take you that long
Save
in Jersey City of shit?
and indeed they did save lives.
Y'all too scared to shoot
Now-
back. Well, actually,
I am calling on the
Y'all
elected
wasn't as
officials of this
good.
Commonwealth to become second responders.
one of your detectives
Your
got
duty
murdered.
is clear. Rush to the
And I'm in
scene.
law enforcement. Pity on
Put a
you.
stop to this fight. Heal our Commonwealth. Show Virginians that it doesn't matter what party you're in, we're all Virginians first. And we care about the safety and security of every Virginian, no matter who they are or where they live. There will be those, there are already those, who say it's too soon after the tragedy to talk about responses.
He must be
I would
high on
ask
top.
those people,
He must be.
when is the right time? Delay only means that it
Cracking a bit for
always
this guy.
means there will be a next time.
Next.
Another tragedy, more deaths of innocent people.
You announced
When
it.
it happens, those same voices will again proclaim that it is too soon to talk about protecting our citizens. I want this to be the last time. I know this
Let
will
it
be
go.
hard.
Let it go.
Doing the right thing is often
Just
hard,
let it go.
but this work is not nearly as difficult as the task ahead for the Virginia Beach families have to carry on, or for the more than 1,000 Virginia families who lost a loved one due to gun violence. It is right to respond to this tragedy with decisive action. Let Virginia set an example for the nation that we can respond
Of course,
to
we know
tragedy
this much.
with action, that we can turn pain into purpose. Let's get to work. Thank you.
Exactly. You're killing babies in the womb. You claim to be about life and rights. Get out of my face. It's a place for you. And I didn't create it. Blow your body now. You think that you can get tortured in another place. Ain't my business.
Well, I read something that you said the world is in trouble.
I think I said the world is a mess.
So is the world in more of a mess today than it was Prime Minister Bush?
Yes, we have a multiplication. When I was young, we lived in a bipolar world.
Pause, 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 pause. And pause, pause, pause. I need to do. That was crazy. I can't believe he gave that. That's just bullshit. That was just crazy bullshit that he was preaching. I'm just like ridiculously insane. Damn, that's oh wow. But come on. That's just you serious. I can't even wow. Let's just go back to and censorship at its finest. Can't even find the daggone part.
Before Virginia's new gun control laws officially go into effect, Democratic Governor Ralph Northam is already increasing his state's corrections budget in anticipation of jailing gun owners. Here to react, attorney and gun rights activist Julian Noir. So tell us what's going on in Virginia.
So from what I gathered, you have Northam, who honestly, if you ask me, isn't the governor. Michael Bloomberg is the governor of Virginia now, considering that he General Assembly. But what he's done is he's anticipated that there's going to be a lot of non-compliance with these gun control laws that he's going to pass in January. And as a result, he wants to bump up some of the funding for the correction facility. So that from an operating standpoint, they understand that they're going to have more people going to jail as a result of not obeying these laws.
So originally, the governor and the Democrats who were backed by Bloomberg wanted to pass legislation that banned semi-automatic rifles, commonly owned firearms. They wanted to put magazine limits on, and without grandfathering in those firearms. They've now changed their mind on that, but they are going to require that people who have these firearms register them, and that's where the non-compliance comes in, correct?
Absolutely. And if I can point out one thing, the fact that they backtracked a little bit and said now, okay, well, we'll give you the grandfather clause, I don't think that's enough. I think wherever you slice it, it's all an infringement on the Second Amendment as far.
So you're an attorney. Are they capable of throwing you in prison for failing to register a constitutionally legally purchased firearm?
There's always been the saying. It's like sometimes you may not beat the ride, but you'll beat the case. And unfortunately, with the way things are in this country, the way things have gone, some people may find themselves in a position where they are actually thrown in jail. Now, whether or not it's
censoring the
a whole different
information.
story.
I can't even get the.
I don't
This
think
is
anybody
insane. I never dealt with this
any aspect of this whatsoever.
Can't even.
The laws
I can't.
are an infringement on the Second Amendment right.
They
And
took
I
it
just
down.
don't understand how we even got to this point.
I can't believe
One of the beautiful aspects of it is you do have,
cool.
I want to say, over 90 counties in Virginia now that deem themselves two-way sanctuaries. And as far as I'm concerned, I think not only Virginia, but the rest of the country should start following suit.
Yeah, there's a lot of pushback already. 100 plus cities and counties that have deemed themselves and voted to be Second Amendment sanctuaries there. We'll have to see what the legislation looks like.
Right now, there's a culture war against the Second Amendment, which is why I need your help spreading our message to counter their message. You can do this by leaving a comment, sharing this video, and click the bell and subscribe. Let my voice be your voice. If you're wondering where to get your I will not comply, I lost all of my guns in a boating accident. The AR-15 is protected by the Second Amendment, and your state-specific America Tactical shirts
click the links in the description section of this video.
In Christianity or actively hostile to it. But during the Christmas season, their tune changes.
This man
because a little ostentatious religiosity is useful.
It's a good man.
In a Christmas tweet, Mayor Pete Buttigieg used the birth of Christ to make a political point, tweeting, quote, "Today I join millions around the world in celebrating the arrival of divinity on earth, who came into this world not in riches, but in poverty, not as a citizen, but as a refugee." Of course, Buttigieg frequently deploys faith as a weapon on the campaign trail. He's very confident that Republicans are evil and also that abortion is biblically okay, perhaps until
biblically. The New Testament, for sure, and every other. Christ is about things like helping those in need, and you got a Republican Party dedicated to its cause. There will be a reckoning. Now, right now, hold everybody in line with this one kind of piece of doctrine about abortion, right? Which is obviously a tough issue for a lot of people to think through more. Then again, you know, there's a lot of parts of the Bible that talk about how life begins with breath. And so even that is something.
Stop.
I think that's a
don't twist the Bible up, you piece of shit.
Is probably not the most.
You don't even know what that means.
But a judge is, though, just following the lead of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who wants the public to think that whenever she isn't on the floor of Congress, she is prostrate in perpetual prayer for the soul of the president.
In any event, I pray for the President of the United States.
Sure you do.
And I pray for the United States of America. I actually ardently pray for the President.
You don't. You're a
I
liar.
pray for the President of the United States. I don't hate anyone.
You're a
I'm
liar.
raised in a way that is full of heart.
Now you want to redeem yourself. I don't hate you.
And I
If
still
you gotta,
pray
if
for
you
the
gotta,
President.
if you gotta
I pray
do
for the
all this
President
shit,
all the time.
you gotta do this to everybody.
Now it's a
You got
marvel
four
she
fingers pointing
manages
at
to
you
find
on
time
your
to do it. How does
And
the
one
party
finger pointing at
usually
everybody
feel
else.
about
Say, see,
That's
you're lying.
better represented by the View's Joy
You don't
Behar,
have to
who
point.
accused Vice President
Your point
Mike
is
Pence
legit.
of being mentally ill due to his religion.
It's one thing to talk to Jesus. It's another thing when Jesus talks to you. Exactly.
Oh wow, wow, what?
It's hilarious if I'm not correct.
Oh, I'm insane because Jesus said.
Religion
Are
is
you
so
serious?
funny, except when Nancy Pelosi is praying for you. Rachel Campbell Duffy is a Fox News contributor and author of the children's book Paloma Wants to Be Lady Freedom, and she joins us now. Rachel, you do get the feeling they haven't even really skimmed the Cliff's Notes of the Bible. This idea that Jesus wasn't a citizen. The only reason he was born in Bethlehem was because Joseph and Mary were complying with the regulatory bureaucracy and going there for the census.
Absolutely. And I've been 9 months pregnant before. Even I would have talked my husband out of that journey. And yet they complied with the law. So, you know, this idea that they were refugees, this is all, they're using politics, they're using religion to make a political point. And what's interesting is Christian voters,
digging in our Bibles
aren't buying it. And that's why
use it against
they
us.
understand that the greatest defender of their faith are not the Democrats, who are frankly trying to erase Christ and Christians from American culture and American politics.
When you think about it, love.
Ironically, Donald Trump, the most unlikely person who's been their greatest defender, most fearless defender,
he's working
whether
hard.
the issue is abortion, religious liberty, exemptions for conscience clauses.
She's not praying to our God. She must be praying to
a vegetarian. So French fries and beer are vegan. So you tell me.
She must be praying
to.
The
easy part for most of my clients who go vegan or vegetarian is cutting
exemptions in healthcare laws, school choice. I mean, you can go on and on. Israel, you go on and on. Christians understand it, and that's why evangelicals, Mark, are supporting Trump, or their approval numbers for him are 77%. And among that 77%, a majority of them don't just approve of him; they strongly approve of him. So those are the numbers. They're not falling for it.
Well, who's this aimed at then? Because if you are serious about your faith, to the point where it dictates your political choices and all the rest. Are you really going to be impressed by some guy like Mayor Pete who doesn't, give the impression that he's done anything more than skim the big names in the New Testament?
Right. Right. It's cynical, but what I think they're trying to do, or what Pete Buttigieg is trying to do, is he's trying to signal to the Democrat base, many of them who are secularists, to say, listen, I've got the goods here. I know how to speak the language, and I can get those Christians to vote for him, because they're really, the Democrats really understand that they need some of these voters in order to beat Donald Trump, because frankly, as I mentioned before, a lot of them have been very impressed with the results for the values that they care about. And the policies he's put forward, and especially the judges that Donald Trump has focused so much on.
That's fascinating what you just said there, Rachel, because it implies that basically he's doing this to persuade godless secularists that he knows the food bait for the rubes. It's fascinating. Thank you for that, Rachel. Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is one of the most vocal of America's wealthy. Her New Deal was an excuse to redistribute the country's wealth, and she says it's immoral even for billionaires to exist at all.
Idealizing this outcome of maybe one day you too can be a billionaire and own.
Oh, that's wrong. I can't be a billionaire.
An aspirational or good thing.
Do you think it is moral for individuals to, for instance,
what?
Do we live in a moral world that allows for billionaires? Is that a moral outcome in and of itself?
It's not.
Oh, wow.
Elizabeth Warren,
this bitch just said it's not moral if you want to be a billionaire.
For his wine,
if somebody don't take her out,
the mayor just recently had a fundraiser that was held in a wine cave full of crystals and served $900 a bottle wine. Billionaires in wine caves should not pick the next president.
I don't know nothing about wine, lady.
This is the problem with
Every
issuing
bottle is
security
called
tests you cannot yourself.
Stop. It's in your Bible.
100 times
You
more.
just start.
We need the support from everybody
Came from
who is
Israel.
committed to help us
Talk
defeat
about making wine. Stop.
I do not sell
making noise.
access to my time. I don't do call time with millionaires and billionaires.
Use your adult
They
voice.
talk the wine cave talk, but can either of these candidates walk the walk? Elizabeth Warren herself has hosted fundraisers at expensive restaurants, including one with a $3,800 bottle of wine. Maybe she should have a few more, though. Her fourth quarter fundraising haul was just $17 million. A huge drop from the third quarter. And as for AOC, she may not like those billionaires, but she took funding from Thompson.
AOC, aka The Squad.
A Democratic Party
The Squad.
attorney, and he joins us. Robert, this seems like some crazy Agatha Christie plot to me. There's 12 candidates trapped in a wine cave.
There's a big government scandal going on that you need to know about.
Of
The
course.
government is actually stealing money from unsuspecting property owners. Let me explain. Every day, the government forecloses on 3,000 or more property owners because
and they're all trying to accuse the other one of being the real elitist.
AOC and the Squad
of this
is
conversation? Where are they going?
Well, where this is going is Elizabeth Warren's poll numbers have dropped in the last several months. And because of that, now she has a new line of attack.
Individuals that think
After
alike
going after
and have no legitimacy.
Vice President Biden, after
No
going after the
legitimacy.
top-tier candidate, now Pete Buttigieg has jumped ahead of
No
her
legitimacy.
in Iowa, has jumped ahead of her in New Hampshire, and her chances of winning are going down. So now she's deciding to go back to your same
A group of people with no legitimacy to come together.
President Trump is going to go into 2020 with $1 billion
Something that
in
was
his
never
war
legit.
chest.
Never
$1 billion.
even
So
valid.
whoever the
Make it
Democratic
legit
nominee
because
is going to have to raise money from whoever the hell is available in order to be able to compete
definition
on
of
the
brainwash.
airways. Not even talking about the amount of free media that President Trump gets with every single tweet, with every single time that he opens his mouth.
Dumb
We're going to have to
down,
fight fire with
demoralized.
fire, and Elizabeth Warren's purity tests are not going to get us across the That's fine.
Yeah, it's more. It's about more than just the money, though. One of the refreshing things about Trump
Say it again.
last time, Robert,
You know
is
she's a
that he was
globalist
rich guy who
crook.
didn't pretend he wasn't.
They're globalist.
There's something ridiculous.
They're
about the figure
voting
like
about.
Elizabeth Warren has led a
They
charmed
make,
life.
it's like they put a cap
Pretending
on your life.
she's the daughter of a
Put
Cherokee
the cap on
janitor
there.
or whatever the
You sit
latest
there, they sit
version
back, and they
of
say, "Oh,
events is. And this idea that
it's immoral
you
to
argue price point
aspire
at
to make
which
$1
a
billion.
Democratic candidate can buy a bottle of wine.
$1 billion
This is about a
to
certain
give back to
insecurity in
children.
how to present yourself.
So they have somewhere to go if
Well, I
they
think
don't
what
have
it is
food.
grasping
They
at
don't have
straws.
shelter.
Once he announced
I
the
can't
Medicare
make
for
that
All
happen.
plan,
You worried about who
tanked
wants
her
to be
poll
a
numbers.
billionaire?
She tried to start explaining
Sit
to
your
her,
butt
I have
down.
a plan for this that tanked her poll numbers. Now it's trying to appeal to almost this working man base without having working man politics. What Pete Buttigieg has done has been absolutely
The only reason why it makes
amazing.
it hard.
To be a
It
37-year-old
makes it hard for
the
the white
LGBT
people to do the right
mayor of a
thing
small town in
and
South
get these
Bend, Indiana, and
facilities
go
and
toe to
buy
toe
these
with
buildings
people
and get
literally
these
twice
land.
his age. I
You
think
got
there is to
people
be
like her
commended.
holding us
And
back.
what she is actually saying is she wants to put a wall of entry so that you have to already be a millionaire in order to run for office, rather than simply running on principles as Buttigieg has done, and then depending on other people to see the value in your campaign and reach out to
This
donors.
can't
We
happen.
have
You're
campaign
promoting.
finance laws
You
on the
can't
books.
do
As long as Buttigieg is operating
They
himself,
are.
he needs to fundraise
Yeah,
however
yeah.
possible, because without that, he will not be able to go toe to toe for it.
Just quickly, are you
That's just
offended by
insane.
wine caves, or is that
That's
not a
just insane.
priority for you this
I never
electoral
knew. I
cycle?
never seen nobody.
My priorities
take
are
that to
fixing
heart.
our healthcare system, fixing our roads, fixing our schools,
Right.
fixing
Fixing
things
our
on the
roads, fixing
kitchen
our
table
school.
that Americans care about. I don't think anyone's particularly concerned about where that funding is coming from, as long as it's within the coverage of the law.
Okay, thank you for that, Robert. Pete Buttigieg, as you mentioned, is supposed to be a moderate, but he's now advocating no jail time for possessing any drug at all.
Wow.
Heroin, cocaine, whatever. We'll explore this latest sign of worsening left-wing radicalism next. And Tucker will be making a special appearance himself after the break. And later in the hour, we'll have Final Exam. See if you were paying sufficient attention to the news over Christmas with our Fox News specialist. Just ahead.
Any drugs, if it's possession,
Amazing.
incarceration.
Amazing.
That's right.
Buttigieg isn't the only one. Andrew Yang is calling for the same.
And Yang.
Mr. Yang, you want
Yang
to
wants to give us
decriminalize the
free
possession
stuff.
and use of small
I don't
amounts
want
of
free stuff.
opioids, including
Free stuff
heroin.
is an
How would
incentive.
that solve the crisis?
I don't.
That's exactly right. So we need to decriminalize opiates for personal use. We have to let the country know this is not a personal failing.
Are good.
This is a
Incentives help
systemic
you do the
government
right thing.
failing.
Getting
And then
me,
we need to open
giving
up safe consumption and
me
safe
free
injection
stuff.
sites around the country
Whatever.
because they save lives.
I take it. So what? But
Danny
the person
Golson
beside
is
me
former
may not be
deputy
compelled to
assistant
even
director
work
of
because
the
you're giving them
FBI, and he joins us.
$1,000 every month just because,
seems
just
to
to help
be
you out.
that,
Like,
drug addiction, whatever
no,
it is,
that's not
heroin,
good because I know
is
people who
a
have baby after
victimless
baby after
crime.
baby after baby
That
with no
actually
job,
isn't really
and
the
then
case,
they will
is
look forward to you.
Oh,
They'll go, yes,
absolutely not. And let's
you give me $1,000.
decriminalization.
I have
legalization. And we want to now tell the youth of America
and then
that it's
you
okay.
give them money
It's legal.
that
which
they can
means
live
it's
off
okay
of
to take shots
on
of
your
bait.
dime.
Indifferent to Christianity,
You're not teaching
or
them to
actively
own.
hostile to it.
You're not teaching
During
them
the
to get
Christmas
anything.
season, there
You're
are
not
few
teaching them to
changes
work.
because a little ostentatious
a job.
religiosity is
Next shirt I'm about to get.
in
Get
a
a job.
Christmas treat. Mayor Pete Buttigieg used the birth
come
of
on.
Christ to
Stop
make a political
using poor
point,
people
tweeting, quote,
as a crutch.
"Today I join millions
we're
around the
giving
world
everybody
in celebrating the arrival of
$1,000
divinity
from
on
the government.
earth, who came into
The
this
hell are you
world
going to get that
not
money in
in
the first place?
riches,
We're
but
already
in
in debt.
poverty, not as a citizen, but as a refugee." Of course, Buttigieg frequently deploys faith as a weapon on the campaign trail. He's very confident that Republicans are evil and also that abortion is biblically okay, perhaps until birth.
You go through the New Testament for sure, and every other word that comes out of the mouth of Christ is about things like helping those in need. And you got a Republican Party dedicated to it. There will be a reckoning over that. Now, right now, hold everybody in line with this one kind of piece of doctrine about abortion, right? Which is obviously a tough issue for a lot of people to think through. Then again,
Life is sacred.
you know, There's a lot of parts of the
You want to know anything about the
how life
breath?
begins with
The
breath.
breath is the sacred geometry that forms the human.
Differently.
I
It's
think that's
sacred.
actually a reference
If
to
you don't
God's
get that, it's
creation of
your fault.
Adam, which
The
is
hell with
probably
you,
not
literally.
the most typical scenario.
Nothing more
But a judge
divine than the
is
sacred
just
geometry of
following the
God.
lead of House Speaker
From
Nancy
one cell
Pelosi,
to
who
two
wants the
cells
public to
to
think that
four
whenever
cells.
she isn't on the floor of
And then you
Congress,
turn into one of
she
these.
is prostrate in perpetual prayer for the soul of the president.
It'll be a cell on every
In
single,
any
that's what you
event,
call a
I
star
pray for the President
tetrahedron.
of the United States.
We are
And
all
I pray
stars
for the
of
United
David.
States of America.
The eyes of
I
God. Something that
actually
you cannot replace.
ardently pray for the
All
president.
light.
Again, I pray for the
I don't
president of the
believe
United
that's your
States.
problem.
I don't hate anyone.
Like
I
sacred.
was raised in a
Some
way that
people
is a heart full of love and always prayed for the
Period.
president. And I still pray for the president. I pray for the president all the time.
She's praying right
You're
now.
like,
It's a
you're the truth.
marvel she manages to
Fight.
find time for impeachment.
Yeah.
How does the party usually feel about faith? That's better represented by the View's Joy Behar, who
One
accused
cell
Vice
to a
President
vesicle
Mike
Pisces.
Pence of being
We are
mentally
life.
ill due
We
to
are
his
sacred.
religion.
It's one thing to talk to Jesus. It's another thing when Jesus talks to you. Exactly. Illness, if I'm not correct.
Religion, it's so funny, except when Nancy Pelosi is praying for you. Rachel Campbell-Snuffy is a Fox News contributor and author of the children's book Paloma Wants to Be Lady Freedom, and she joins us now. Rachel, you do get the feeling they haven't even really skimmed the Cliff's Notes of the Bible. This idea that Jesus wasn't a citizen. The only reason he was born in Bethlehem was because Joseph and Mary were complying with the regulatory bureaucracy and going there for the census.
Absolutely. And I think
I gotta.
Yeah, she was still talking.
Generation restrictions and process.
Yeah.
Go to the future. Listen to 1800 seconds.
and I've been 9 months pregnant before. Even I would have talked my husband out of that journey. And yet they complied with the law. So, you know,
full of crystals and served $900 $900 a bottle wine. Billionaires in wine caves should not pick the next president of the United States.
This is the problem. Impurity tests, you cannot.
That's horrible, y'all. How do you can't? You start censoring Tucker Carlson? What the fuck? What you say? Thank you, sir. At least you will not be censored.
That exists out there. To me, it's completely shocking. Actor Dean Cain, a regular in Hallmark movies, defending the popular feel-good films watched by millions of viewers this time of year in particular, after a politics writer for Salon penned a controversial article on Christmas night declaring, quote, Hallmark movies are fascist propaganda. Here now, Carly Shimkus of Fox News 24/7. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
We both know Dean Cain. He's a friend. Yes. I had no idea that Superman is allegedly some sort of a Nazi propagandist. This is crazy.
Well, I have a question for you.
This is crazy.
Absolutely nothing controversial about it. They crank these things out in like 15 days in Canada. This is clearly not, they're not written by some
And it's not an aspirational or good thing. The thing when Jesus talks to you.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's just.
Dangers of gun-free zones and how bad guys don't care. They don't care about the law. These gun control laws really only impact good law-abiding people to make them helpless, defenseless, stop these horrible things from happening.
I think
That's reassuring. That's reassuring to know. This is a big issue for Tucker and all the rest of us on this show. Danny, thank you for that. And now here is a special appearance from the man himself. Here's Tucker.
Yes.
Across the
But I was
country,
waiting for
over the pretext of
They
safety,
really tried to
left
censor
is
you.
systematically making this country
And
less
do it on
safe
your
by
page.
depriving law-abiding Americans the ability to protect themselves, whether it's at Starbucks or at City Hall or on a military base. Gun-free zones in so many cases haven't saved lives, but instead have helped end lives. You can go through
Gun-free zones, no self-defense. Kill yourself.
And defenseless. How gun control helped my stalker murder my husband in front of me. Nikki, thanks so much for coming
A
on.
stalker murdered
So
your
the
husband in
subtitle
front
of your
of you.
book seems to be
Amazing.
pretty self-explanatory. Recap what happened, if you don't mind.
What happens when
My
people
husband
live in a
Benjamin
bubble?
was murdered
In a
right in
box.
front of me by a man who was stalking me.
Mm.
And because of Tennessee state law at the time, I had to leave my legal permitted firearm that I normally carried for self-defense locked in my vehicle because the restaurant we were at was a gun-free zone, and I obeyed that law. The man who was stalking me did not have a handgun carry permit. He brought a gun in illegally to a gun-free zone and shot my husband 7 times in front of myself and everyone in the middle of a busy restaurant. I will probably wonder for the rest of my life if I could have prevented that. Of course, I'll never know because I was denied a chance. I was stalked and defenseless.
Awful. It's a breathtakingly awful story. What's so striking about it is the point that you made that the man who did it, the murderer, wasn't deterred by the law. Of course, he's a murderer. He doesn't care.
They don't obey the law.
And that's what I've tried really
If I
hard
want to kill you,
to do for years.
I'm gonna
is
break the
try
law.
to
It's called
educate
murder.
people about the dangers of
The law
gun
that I
zones
broke.
and how bad guys don't care. They don't care about the law.
Whatever degree, first, second, or third.
Impact
I'm
good
not gonna follow
law-abiding
it.
people
If
to
I
make
want to
them
murder you,
helpless.
these
to
laws
think
you
with.
pass
Stop
as a
before
dumbass
things
won't
happen.
matter because you're
But
gonna be
normal
dead
people
anyway.
understand that intuitively, and certainly when someone like you who's lived it, whose life, the tragedy in your life explains the point you're making so clearly, they don't
This is
even need to say
ridiculous.
more.
You gotta
But
pay
there are
attention to
people
what
who
you
hear
want
your story and still aren't convinced. What do they say to you?
Oh, people will say,
murder.
what makes you think that you could have stopped him? Or
Shoot.
it would be
Don't
more
nobody murder
dangerous to
people in
have
front of police.
other guns, in the equation. And look, if the bad guy is the only one with a gun, guess who wins?
For the most part. I mean, not all,
Not
but most.
by the violence they see, mass shootings and stuff. Normal people are upset, and I understand it. But once they hear your story and stories like here, totally sincere story like yours, imagine that they couldn't change their minds in the face of that. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. One thing that's really frustrating for me is, you hear Democrats talk about they want more and more gun control laws.
Yes.
But then when it comes right down to it, take for instance the prosecutor for my husband's murder case.
Yes.
He did not charge the murderer with any of the gun control law violations. He was not charged with carrying a handgun without a permit. He was not charged with carrying a gun illegally into a gun-free zone.
He was just charged with
Those
murder.
charges could have been put out there, and he could have gotten even more prison time.
Right.
But that prosecutor didn't do that. Why do we have these gun control laws if you're not gonna charge these people?
Let me ask you one last question.
It's for the
Do you think
citizen.
Nancy Pelosi goes to restaurants
Shit
without
about
being
you
protected by
saving
someone
your
with a
life.
gun?
I don't give a fuck about you.
Restaurant without
This is a white blonde head woman.
taxpayer expense.
I used to be a staffer in DC for Congressman Thomas Massey.
Mhm.
And when I would walk
Staffer in DC,
into
out here.
work, I would see Nancy Pelosi
Wow.
outside, either getting in or out of a very large SUV with personal security.
A
detail.
suburb.
She was detailed with
I
her
can
all
tell
the
you
time.
exactly what she gets in because
I
I worked at MSNBC headquarters, both of them in Washington D.C.
Her
And
security
she got
detail
out.
does.
I seen her. I seen her when she walked into the. She gets in
Yeah, Nancy's life is not more valuable than anyone else's. She might think
suburban,
that.
all black
We all
with
should have
Secret
the basic
Service.
human right of self-defense.
So armed to the teeth. That always has their hands by their waistband. They're trained
The last
to pull from the
days of
waist.
this decade
Any second
are going the way the
of the day.
previous 10 years was.
Stand like this on purpose. Didn't notice Secret Service. They stand like this on purpose because they keep their hands close to the waistline just in case they have to draw. just in case they have to draw. Keep their hands like this, or at least like this. So just in, and if they or they keep it like this, just in case they have to go there. Quick motion. Quick motion. It's the muscle memory. You really don't have to think about it. These are. I know someone who worked in the Secret Service. Speaking of which, I'm supposed to be working for it. They never called me back. Anyway, you obviously understand law enforcement is tight and close, but man, we gotta get these upcoming laws under control, man. It's crazy, y'all. It's crazy. But nevertheless, you gotta keep fighting, Can't give up. Cannot give up the fight.
The play is, quote, problematic because, quote, a man in a dress doesn't cut it as a punchline in 2019. Not without serious and in Seattle, a theater put on a stage adaptation of the Robin Williams film Mrs. Doubtfire, but a cabal of activists protested the play because it's about a man dressing up as a woman. In the words of the Seattle Times, the play is, quote, problematic because, quote, a man in a dress doesn't cut it as a punchline in 2019. Not without serious and necessary conversations, unquote.
Unquote. Now with LGBT attack.
Radio host that he joined. Jason, the minute I hear the words problematic.
Y'all never said that when they was making movies for the past 20 to 30 years. Now it's a problem.
This is essentially an argument between two groups of liberals. The theatrical liberals who put on the play, and another group of liberals who say, sorry, you guys aren't liberal enough. So I don't really have a dog in this fight. What's the best way to pick the justice of this situation?
Well, I think we look at it for what it is. The Seattle Times decided to call this problematic, and I'm with you. It's a term that doesn't mean anything anymore.
It's a problematic term.
Well, let's have that serious conversation. The conversation is we've decided to elevate a small group of crazy people who legitimately believe that Mrs. Doubtfire is leading to the deaths of transgender individuals. That's just not the case. They call it they did an interview with a series of individuals from the community that they picked out.
When I hear insanity, I get lost.
This was unconscionable. Another one said that this is a death
Where did this come
from? Individuals to make
about
jokes a character who's not even transgender. The character's not transgender. Right. So it's kind of ridiculous what the Seattle Times decided to do here. This is
we can't even have good comedy.
A small percentage of people who legitimately.
You might as well go after Tyler Perry. If you're going to say dressing up like a woman is problematic, you might as well go after every Tyler Perry movie that was made. You might as well go after Big Mom. You might as well go after every hilarious comedy growing up that we knew.
They're not heroes.
It was just
part of the
comedy.
Is it also about the hierarchy of victims?
It's so sensitive.
Identity groups. Because
it's so emotional.
A conflict between
can't be in touch with
which has been a big part of theatre for thousands of years, and exists more generally, and then gender dysphoria, so-called, which is a completely different thing on a completely different scale. And for example, I think some drag queens were kicked out of the LGBT whatever parade in Glasgow, Scotland, because the transgenders. In other words, there are internal contradictions, as Marx would say, to the Rainbow Coalition. And at some point,
really
conflicts between transgender and feminists, transgender and homosexuality.
Transgenders don't agree with gays. Gays don't agree with transgenders.
It's a race
combined as LGBT,
so you can call yourself
separated and choose somewhere in the mix.
In social media, when you say you're victim class, number one, because
then it's another line every year.
You have someone fighting for you, and you always have someone fighting for you on the left because they want to tell you that they're fighting for you, that you would not be able to exist in Trump's America if it was not for them. And it's kind of ridiculous. Parody, and yet we talk about these stories almost every single day. It's no longer a parody.
No, and in the end, everything will be banned. Jason, thank you for that.
Thanks for having me.
This is Doubtfire. Isn't the only quote unquote problematic show to see. A new adaptation of Louisa May Alcott's classic novel Little Women is coming out. The novel is set in the 1860s in Massachusetts, and in response to the film's release, Teen Vogue has denounced it for being too white. They wrote, quote, "It's time that classics that are constantly remade to better incorporate diversity." The same day, Teen Vogue promoted an article showing Antifa as misunderstood heroes. Kurt Schlichter is a senior columnist
Antifa
and
is
author of the new
the
novel,
terrorist organization that wants your police dead. Wants your Antifa is the organization who wants your police and law enforcement dead.
Who can't actually make anything of their own,
and pigs that fry like bacon and all that
they
other
have
crazy
to
stuff.
wreck everything that came before it too. Why is it any business of theirs to rewrite Little Women for being insufficiently woke?
Well, it isn't any of their business, Mark. It's another attempt to try and drive a culture war, organized because a bunch of 20-something middle-class girls with feminist dance degrees from Wellesley are born living in unparalleled peace and prosperity. So they've got to gin up some sort of drama. And what's better than Little Women, which is pretty much Dirty Harry for teenage girls? Let's hassle these poor young women.
Right.
And take something they love and for their own weird purposes, for their own personal drama, turn it into something that's ridiculous.
You actually make a good point there, Kurt, because the interesting thing about Little Women is it's actually quite tough. The dad is away fighting the Civil War. The girls are in a terrible situation. They're not going to have much of a Christmas. By the time we get to the next Christmas, I don't want to give away any plot spoilers, but the fact is, they actually have it worse than these pampered little nitwits at Teen selling their readers on the joys of various sexual practices, as opposed to recommending they sit down and read a good book.
Really?
Well, I can't tell you how glad I was when I was asked to be on here to talk about a Vogue article. It wasn't the one promoting high school sodomy.
Oh yeah, no, that's
you hear me? High school sodomy.
I don't know. It's been a while since I've been in high school, but apparently I went to a very dull one.
Well, there's not enough of that in Little Women either. I mean,
this is insane.
I guess their point here is that if we were doing this in Massachusetts today,
right?
If Louisa May Alcott was writing Little Women in Massachusetts today, at least two of the girls would be transitioning, and one would be a lesbian, and the other would be running.
Lesbian.
A Cherokee janitor, and that would more accurately reflect the diverse society.
What are you, moron?
But why can't they just do what you do and write their own novel about it?
What, they can't create anything. They can only destroy. These are empty-souled people, Mark. They don't have religion. They don't have any real culture. All they have is anger, and that's their drug. Anger is something that fills the void inside them. And we've got to raise our kids better. We've got to.
You sound like me. We really don't know where this is coming from. That's what times is. It's like anything positive and God and good is going to hell in a handbasket full of shit.
It gives these kids a taste of the real world.
Well, that would certainly be an interesting issue of.
And then you wonder why we got World War II, old World War II men just being mad, trying to shit up the world because they recognize they went overseas to fight for us, and then they come back and we have communists in our country. It makes your head spin. Because we planned for this.
Well, look at them there. In our weekly news quiz, this is a battle of the giants. Don't miss it. It's coming next.
Amazing. Amazing. Tucker Carlson tonight. You're joining me today for another talk with the Republican Understanding. Today is 2A News and Leftist Agenda. Welcome, welcome, and welcome.
You know what that music means? It's time for Final Exam, our weekly quiz, where we see who at Fox News actually knows anything about the news. And today we have a Fox and Friends face-off. Carly Shimkus does everything in this building on radio and TV, but she actually started Oh, you know what that music means? It's time for Final Exam, our weekly quiz, where we see who at Fox News actually knows anything about the news.
Facts. Do you know anything about the news? Legitimate.
Everything in this building on radio and TV. But she actually started.
I just owe him so much.
Well, try and win this one for
I am.
Don.
That's right.
I am. She ain't playing.
Playing against Griff Jenkins. Griff and I go a long way back. We actually met at Gitmo many years ago. One of us was just visiting and one of us was a detainee, but I'm not going to tell you which it's his. Okay, contestants, hands on. The 2020 Democratic field is, well, even so-called moderates aren't immune. At a recent campaign appearance, Pete Buttigieg called for decriminalizing all drugs, heroin, meth, crack, you name it.
It is shit. You must want people to fuck the world.
Any drugs, possession, incarceration.
Buttigieg isn't the only one. Andrew Yang is calling for the same.
Mr. Yang, you want to decriminalize
This is the definition of socialism.
Of small amounts
Hitler
of
did
opioids,
this.
including heroin. How would that solve the crisis?
That's exactly right. So we need to decriminalize opiates for personal use. We have to let the country know this is not a personal failing. This was a systemic government failing. And then we need to open up safe consumption and safe injection sites around the country because they save lives.
Do you hear this shit? Safe injection, safe consumption of heroin. I saved their fucking lives too.
Seems to be that drug addiction, whatever it is, heroin.
Let me be real. I'm on this channel. Dude, I'm a freaking special police. I had a freaking heroin addict have a seizure 4 days ago, and I saved his fucking life. Stop this bullshit, man. Stop this bullshit. Stop the bullshit.
It's legal, which means it's okay. Take shots of heroin.
Right. You're making, let's die, okay.
I don't think so.
They don't give a shit about us. They don't care. They don't care if we become drug addicts. Fuck it. You're worse than a fucking pharmaceutical company. You're publicly saying, we're going to make heroin legal. We're going to make crack legal. We're going to make cocaine legal. If you ever in your life do this, we're going to have that shit in fucking stores. We already have weed in stores called hemp, but they want to say it's not weed or marijuana by law on the back of the package. This is slow indoctrination. We're slowly trying to indoctrinate the country.
With trees and lakes and mountains. And
oh,
man. At the way various addictions have taken their grip. And one thing
Every week I save somebody's life from drugs. Heroin, if you want to be specific. And you got two Democratic
more drugs and more drug use and more
people running for president that really want
more theft and more property crime just to fund that.
to legalize.
And more violent crime too.
And give safe spaces to
And they keep
drugs.
talking about emptying jail.
Nobody can touch
I've
you.
put a
Nobody
lot
will
of people in jail. I've handled prison riots. Those people in
Safe.
jail need to be there because they are
Lost your
many
mind.
cases violent, some non-violent. We need to address
You're
that.
helping
But
somebody
violent criminals
tear
need
their
to
life
be
down,
incarcerated
and you're not
to get
giving
relief
them
from
an
their
opportunity out.
criminality.
You're showing
Well,
them
do you
it's
think
okay
this is going to work
by
for
pushing
these
laws to
so-called
say
even among Democrats?
not even against the law. So
Well, I don't know about the country. I
when a
can
heroin
tell
addict
you in a blind
breaks in your fucking house, puts a gun to your fucking head
That's
for another
reassuring.
fucking hit,
That's reassuring
what
to
you
them. This is a
gonna
big issue for
Exactly.
and all the rest of us on this show. Danny, thank you for that.
Crazy.
And
Thank you,
now
enjoy
here
it.
I can't
is
believe my
special
country.
appearance from a
I
man
can't believe my
himself, his Tucker.
But then again, it's not my country.
The country, over the
It's
pretext
the
of safety,
Democrats.
the left is
That's the worst part
systematically
about it.
making this country less safe by depriving law-abiding Americans
It's
the
the
ability to
social,
protect themselves.
the
At
communists.
Starbucks or at City Hall,
It's
or
the
on
people who are
military
doing the
bases.
same thing
Government
Hitler
free
did
zones in so
to
many
get
places
you
have saved lives.
to agree
But
with
it
his
says
politics.
end lives.
Hitler legalized meth. He legalized all drugs. He didn't give a fuck about none of that.
Gun control helped my stalker
Forget the
murder my
drug
husband in
thing.
front of
Come on with me.
He joins us tonight.
That's exactly what Hitler did.
So
It's
the
the same.
title of your book seems to be
It's
pretty
insane.
self-explanatory.
They say you can get
Recap
high.
what happened,
We don't give a
if you
shit.
don't mind, for us.
I
Hitler was doing that
in front of me
getting
by a
sick.
man who was stalking me.
It's in his document.
And
It's in
because of
it's in his
Tennessee state law
documents.
at the
It's written
time, I had
documents.
to leave my
Get a
legal
doctor
accredited
to give
firearm
him
that I normally carried for
some
self-defense
pure meth,
dropped
some
in my
pure,
vehicle
some
because the
pure,
restaurant we were at
some
was
high quality
and
amphetamines
I
like that.
obeyed that law.
High quality.
The man who was stalking me did not have a handgun carry permit.
Pharmaceutical
He brought a
amphetamine.
gun in illegally to a gun-free zone and shot my husband 7 times in front of myself and
It's
everyone
crazy.
in the middle of a
It's
busy
crazy.
restaurant. I will probably wonder for the rest of my life. I could have
Appreciate you guys
I
watching.
never know.
We
Because
will
I
be
was
back.
denied a chance. I
We will
was
not
stalked
stop.
and defenseless.
Right.
That is just awful.
Second
That's a
Amendment.
breathtakingly awful story.
Democrat.
What's so striking about it is the
Coming
point
for
that
your
you made
throat.
that the man who did it, the murderer,
That's why
wasn't deterred by the law because, of course, he's a murderer.
nothing to be
He's a
said.
killer.
Right.
We have
And that's what
action.
I've tried really hard to do for years is try to educate people.